Imagine this. You wake up early in the morning. Your stomach is empty. You haven't eaten in about 14 hours. No breakfast, no snack, just you, your body, and that quiet moment before the day starts. Most people would tell you this is a terrible idea. They'd say you're running on empty, that you need fuel or you're going to crash. But instead of reaching for food, you step outside, you start moving, and something unexpected happens. You don't feel weak. You don't feel dizzy. Your mind actually feels clearer. Your body feels lighter. There's a subtle sense of energy that wasn't there before. Not the jittery kind. Something calmer, sharper, almost instinctive. What you're experiencing isn't willpower, and it isn't luck. You've just triggered a biological system that's been part of human survival for thousands of years. A system modern life has almost trained us to ignore. And here's the part most people never hear about. The real transformation doesn't happen immediately. It happens later, quietly, inside your metabolism, if you stay long enough to let your body adapt. For years, we've been told the same story. If you're going to move your body, you need to eat first. A banana, a protein bar, a pre-workout shake. The logic sounds simple. Food equals fuel. No food means no energy. But this belief has quietly shaped how most people think about their bodies, and it's not entirely accurate. Here's what almost no one explains. When you eat something right before a workout, that food doesn't magically turn into usable energy. Digestion is slow. That snack is still sitting in your stomach while you're already halfway through your movement. Your muscles aren't being powered by what you just ate. Not yet. Real energy comes from inside you, from stored glycogen in your liver and muscles, and from the thousands of calories locked away in your body fat. These reserves don't disappear just because you skipped breakfast. They're always there. The difference is whether your body knows how to access them. The problem isn't that we don't have fuel. The problem is that modern habits have trained our bodies to rely on constant eating instead of internal energy. When food is always coming in, your metabolism never learns to switch modes. And that's where the real disconnect begins. To understand what happens next, we have to look at how your body actually decides which fuel to burn. So if that quick snack isn't what's powering your movement, where does the energy actually come from? The answer is much simpler and much more reassuring than most people realize. Your body already has fuel stored inside it. In fact, it has more fuel than you could ever burn in a single workout. First, there's glycogen. This is stored energy, held in your liver and muscles, saved specifically for moments when you need it. Even after an overnight fast, your liver still carries roughly 100 grams of glycogen, reserved for essential functions and movement. This is why fasted exercise doesn't feel like hitting a wall right away. You're not empty. You're tapping into reserves. Then there's body fat. Thousands of calories stored quietly, waiting behind a metabolic lock. And that lock is controlled by one hormone, insulin. When insulin is high, your body stays in storage mode. It holds on to fat and relies heavily on sugar. But when insulin drops, a completely different system turns on. Fatty acids are released. Your metabolism shifts. Fasted exercise places your body in that low insulin state. It's a biological green light, telling your system that stored energy is now available. The issue isn't that most people lack fat to burn. The issue is that their metabolism has forgotten how to access it efficiently, and that's why the first few fasted workouts can feel uncomfortable. Your body isn't broken. It's simply relearning a skill it hasn't used in years. What happens next depends on whether you stop there or allow the adaptation process to begin. This is the part almost no one warns you about. The first few fasted workouts don't always feel great. You might feel a little sluggish. Your legs can feel heavier than usual. Your thoughts might seem slightly foggy. And this is where most people assume something is wrong. They stop here and decide fasted exercise isn't for them. But what you're feeling isn't danger. It's resistance. Your body has spent years being fed before every movement. High insulin, constant glucose, easy fuel. So when you suddenly remove that input, your metabolism hesitates. It's not failing, it's recalibrating. During this phase, your liver is finishing off its remaining glycogen. At the same time, your cells are being forced to upgrade the enzymes needed to burn fat efficiently. This process takes time, and like learning any new skill, it feels awkward at first. Discomfort here is not a red flag. It's a transition signal. This is the exact moment where adaptation either begins or gets cut short. If you push through recklessly, you create stress. But if you stay within low-intensity movement, something important starts to shift. Your body stops fighting the process. And when that happens, a completely different kind of energy begins to show up, especially in your mind. Something interesting starts to happen once your body stops resisting. The shift doesn't begin in your muscles, it begins in your head. As blood sugar stays low and insulin remains suppressed, your liver starts converting fat into ketones. And, for your brain, this is a completely different kind of fuel. Ketones are stable. They don't spike and crash the way glucose does. Many people describe the same experience: a quiet clarity, fewer racing thoughts, a sense of focus that feels steady instead of forced. This isn't imagination, it's biology. Fasted movement also triggers the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a molecule that supports neuron health and adaptability. Think of BDNF as maintenance for your brain. It helps reinforce neural connections and supports cognitive resilience. That's why fasted workouts often feel mentally different. You're not chasing stimulation. You're operating in a state of efficiency. You're not just burning calories. You're sharpening the system that controls every decision you make. This is the point most people never reach, because they quit too early. But once you experience it, you understand something important. The body isn't panicking when it's unfed and moving. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. And when that mental clarity locks in, the physical adaptation follows right behind it. Once that mental shift takes hold, the physical changes start to stabilize. This is where fasted exercise stops feeling like a challenge and starts feeling normal. At first, your body resists. Then, it adapts. And eventually, it becomes flexible. Over the next few weeks, your metabolism learns how to switch fuels smoothly. It can burn glucose when it's available and fat when it's not, without stress or panic. This is what metabolic flexibility really means. Not deprivation, not discipline, just efficiency. Your performance evens out, energy stops spiking and crashing. You're no longer dependent on eating every few hours just to feel functional. Inside your cells, your mitochondria begin to change. These are the structures responsible for producing energy, and with consistent fasted movement, they become both more numerous and more efficient. This process, known as mitochondrial biogenesis, allows your body to generate more energy with less waste. You're getting more output from the same system. This is why people often report steady energy throughout the day once adaptation sets in. Not wired, not exhausted, just stable. Your body isn't asking for constant input anymore. It trusts its own reserves. And that trust changes how you move, how you think, and how you relate to hunger itself. When you zoom out, this pattern starts to make sense. For most of human history, movement didn't happen after breakfast. It happened before it. Hunting, gathering, traveling. Exercise, in its original form, was almost always done in a fasted state. Hunger wasn't a problem to solve. It was a signal that sharpened awareness and focus. Biologically, we are built to function well when food isn't immediately available. In fact, that's when our systems are most alert. Stress hormones rise just enough to mobilize energy. Fat is released. The brain prioritizes clarity over comfort. This isn't weakness. It's survival efficiency. In the modern world, we've reversed that logic. We've learned to fear an empty stomach, to see hunger as something dangerous or dysfunctional. But when fasted movement is applied carefully and intentionally, it reconnects us with a version of our biology that is resilient, adaptive, and strong. You stop seeing your body as fragile. You start trusting it again. That shift matters, Because once you trust your biology, you don't need constant reassurance from food, supplements, or stimulation. You move with confidence, knowing your body can support you. And from that place, the question is no longer whether you can do this. It's how you choose to apply it safely. That said, balance matters. Fasted exercise is a tool, not a rule. And like any tool, it works best in the right context. High-intensity efforts, sprinting, heavy powerlifting, max output training often rely more on readily available glucose. In a fully fasted state, peak power can drop, and that's not a failure, it's physiology. There are also people who should be more cautious. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, recovering from an eating disorder, or managing conditions like type 1 diabetes, the added stress of fasting and exercise can do more harm than good. Listening to your body isn't weakness, it's intelligence. Dizziness, cold sweats, or extreme fatigue are signals to stop and refuel, not push harder. The goal here isn't to override your system. It's to work with it. When fasted movement is applied gently and intentionally, it supports health. When it's forced, it becomes counterproductive. And that's why how you start matters just as much as whether you start at all. If you're going to try this, start small, not with intensity, but with consistency. A 20 to 30-minute brisk walk in the morning is enough. Keep it easy. You should be able to breathe through your nose and hold a conversation. This isn't about pushing harder. It's about letting your biology do the work. Hydration matters more than people realize. When insulin is low, your kidneys release more sodium, so drink water and consider a pinch of salt or a sugar-free electrolyte. After your movement, wait about 30 to 60 minutes, then break your fast with a protein-focused meal to support recovery. This creates a natural rhythm: stress, then repair. But the real benefit goes deeper than metabolism. When you stop fearing an empty stomach, something shifts psychologically. You realize your energy doesn't disappear just because you skipped a meal. You trust your body more. You move with confidence instead of urgency. You're not just burning fat. You're rebuilding a more resilient relationship with your own biology. So the question isn't whether this works. The question is whether you're willing to take one small step tomorrow and see how your body responds.